Good morning. It's 2:44, and the title for today's video is Use of Fiat Currency and Counterfeiting. I almost fell off my chair laughing at a comment on yesterday's video that claimed a copy of a note for real property was the same as the original. Really? Since when did counterfeiting become lawful? A note is money. It has real value. I cannot make copies of $100 bills and expect them to have any value at all. Or am I missing something? Of course, some say that by using Federal Reserve notes, we are agreeing to play by that system of fraud. This might have some validity if there was a viable alternative available on a wide scale. If there is, I don't know about it. What may work for someone with an unusual lifestyle does not mean it is the solution for everyone else. As I see it, the only way for us to become liberated on a wide scale is to bring down the house of cards erected by the criminals in high places, governments, courts, and of course banks. That's where the problem lies. And it is the problem that lies to us all the time. In the U.S., real money is gold and silver, which the cabal eliminated from populations under the FDR and Nixon, or maybe Johnson administrations. And I have the wrong word there, and I didn't notice it, so I just read it out loud. I have populate instead of population. Okay, I'll fix it. In fact, I better do that now, or otherwise I'll forget. Anyway, sorry about the delay there. Yeah, this whole question of you can use a copy of a note worth a little over $250,000. You can use the copy of that note as if it were the original with the wet ink signature. And actually, the lawyer, the attorney that was involved in the original lawsuit back in 2005 actually made that claim in writing, that they lost the note, but they have copies. And the copies are just as good. Now, here's the thing. Banks, and I've said this before, banks sell those notes. Once the note is sold, there is no more contract. The contract has been paid. Period. It doesn't matter who else the contract was with, the agreement was with. Once they sell it and get money for it, somebody else owns that contract. Now, they don't just sell it once. They sell it several times. Many times as they can get away with. That's some of the fraud that the banking system under the cabal has gotten away with. It's how they build such enormous wealth for themselves at everybody else's expense. Nobody's commercial mortgage has any value at all once the bank sells it. And they sell it, and they sell it, and they sell it. That's why the original is lost. And if the courts were fair and honest, as soon as a bank admits that they lost the note, the case is over. There is no more case. There was no more loan. There's nothing that they can substantially put their feet upon. That's just simple reality, but it's not the reality of the fictional system that we live under, where everything is controlled by fraud and not by truth. And that's the problem that we face in the world that we live in. Banksters and politicians and corporations control the apparent wealth, but not really, because we, the people, are the real wealth. They can't do anything without us. And they've created a human slavery system where we think we need their money We don't need their money, but we haven't been able, and they'd prosecute anybody that tries to set up an alternative system that starts cutting into their gain and their profits, because it's a fixed game. And that's what I keep trying to get people to see. It's a fixed game. And all you people that are standing up and saying, but you've made it alone, you made it alone, here it is. And the people send me, I mean, some of it doesn't even get up on my thing because I blocked the person that's doing it. And there's people that are doing it, and I'll bet you Kimberly Rozanka is one of the ones that's playing this game, or a friend of hers, or somebody that works for her law firm. They keep trying to prove that they are right, and they're not. They have no lawful leg to stand on. Period. They don't have it. It doesn't exist in their world. In the real world, I should say. It doesn't exist in truth. It only exists in fraud. And theirs is fraud. Theirs is counterfeiting. They counterfeit notes. And a copy of a note is a counterfeit note. And I'm talking now about the note that represents a financial transaction under the system. So the other thing is about using Federal Reserve notes. Now, Dr. Mary left me a bunch of silver coins, some silver dollars, half dollars, a roll or two of quarters, a roll or two of dimes. I don't know how much. I never totaled it. I know that when I was cleaning out everything, I sold them to the auctioneer. And I didn't realize I was selling them because she gave me the money before she even counted the silver. But that's how it worked. And she said, oh, that was for the silver too. So the money that she gave me for some of the other valuables that she took was supposed to include the silver coins, but she hadn't even counted them yet, as I said. So that never made sense to me, but I didn't argue with her. Because folks, believe it or not, I'm not attached to the material things. I'm wanting to keep a roof over my head. I don't want to be homeless. Somebody says, Ron, you'll never be homeless. Well, if I don't have a place to live, if I can't protect the stuff that Dr. Mary left me until I can dispose of it properly and sell what I can sell and give away what I need to give away, then I have a problem. I have a problem with that. But this friend who was saying that, I had a long conversation with him, and there's a lot that I need to learn, and I admit it. I don't know everything, and I'm not spending as much time researching things as I used to, because I'm trying to stay away from the computer and take more control of my life and do things that don't involve the computer. I find myself using the computer more than I even want to, but I really would like to cut back to 3 or 4 hours a day on the computer and no more than that. And unfortunately, when there's a bunch of videos that I like to watch, I mean, I have the computer on even if I'm not sitting in front of it, even if I'm off doing other things. But we've got to change. We've got to wake up that the system is corrupt, and we've got to change it. We've got to take responsibility for changing it, and I believe that God will help us if enough of us step forward, and I think that's already happening, which is why Queen Elizabeth told her staff that this was their last Christmas, because the game is up, the gig is up. They're not going to be able to get away with the BS that they've been getting away with for centuries, but especially the last few centuries since the Rothschilds, that evil cabal took over. And I know a Rothschild that is not part of the cabal. So just because that you have that last name doesn't mean that you're part of that evil system. But people at the top are. Anyway, thank you for listening, and please consider what I'm saying. And if you guys want to criticize, don't bother, because I'm just going to block you. I'm not going to put up with your BS. Thank you for listening. Namaste.